Hello and welcome to Empowered Voices. Today we're going to see a short film called It Doesn't Matter from Exchange House and also a reciting of the poem Gloke by Martin Reilly from Pavee Point. After that we'll come back and we'll have a bit of a break and then a panel discussion. So please stay with us and enjoy the show. Off we have first with It Doesn't Matter.
What? Have you drank one of them yet?
Fuck off.
Have you tried it yet? Have you tried it?
I drank one day at 7 o'clock in the evening, man. Yeah, you should have seen me in bed, rubbing the pillows like that. Now trying to get the itch out of the blood, the pure itch. Right.
Yeah, the traffic is brutal.
Jenny, I had this rattle coming in the steering. I was like, what the hell? I was boom, ba boom, ba boom. I was thinking to myself, what the f?
Is it a puncher?
You think so? Pulled over or nothing. Tyres fat as 4 healthy pups.
I'd say the CV joint.
What joint?
CV joint under the steering rack.
Jenny, I was thinking bad bloody road.
No, definitely CV joint.
Yeah. CV joint or no CV joint? That's the question.
Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
Holy Jesus.
Or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream.
I didn't know you knew Shakespeare.
Why wouldn't I?
Same reason none of us would. No one talks like that anymore.
How could you, man? The chap's always Christ himself, man. I tell you what, you want to hear a good bit of drama. I was up in the mountain today, I was just doing bits and bobs. It usually takes me about 20 minutes. So I says, I walked down the law field and checked on the mirrors. I went down, wasn't she? Only fouling, man.
Happy days, boy.
Yeah, I swear to God, I went into the field, man, yeah. There's no way, man. Cracking. Black and white stand there, standing on 4 feet, man, yeah. Oh, blessed.
Hi lads. What story was?
Yo, Paddy, what's crack, man?
happening,
Oh,
lads?
good, man. I was just telling you about the filly folded up in the land today. Little cracker of a yoke, man.
Did you? What's in this?
Horse meat.
Some soup and Wales.
It's the hanger, buddy.
You're like, who is it? Is it Mr. Brown or Mr. Pink?
You call me Mr. Pink in your dreams, you better wake up and apologise.
Hey Miles, want me to shoot him?
Oh, Jesus. You've been on your phone since you got here, man.
So?
What's on? It's important, man.
What's important about it? What are you chatting
If you were listening, you would have heard.
about? I heard you blathering on about a horse and him going on about Shakespeare.
Give me that, man.
Mick, give me the phone back.
You're not getting the
Mick,
phone.
I need the phone.
But you're agitated, man. You're not
Mick,
getting
give me
it,
the phone. I'm not getting agitated. I just
You're
need the
getting
phone.
agitated.
Mick, give me my phone back.
You're
now.
not getting your phone back.
I need it. Give me the phone
You're not-
now.
I don't care. You're not getting it back, man. That's it.
It's not important. Stop. It's only a bloody phone. Right now, nothing matters. The day that's in it, it's not a big deal.
Whose horse covered the mare?
It was John Boy's. John Boy's horse covered the mare. It's an epidemic in the travelling community. A lot of travellers are taking their lives. In the travelling community, it's afraid to talk about how you feel. It's just what others think of you. So I can't show no weakness. And that's what it comes down to. A travelling man is strong, a woman is strong. There can't be nothing wrong with me.
Like as you speak, every travelling people, like maybe one of every family could be affected by suicide. Like I've a cousin, and God rest him, like he looked happy, but obviously deep down he was obviously sad. And I had a friend in 2017, one of my best friends, you know, and it eats up inside him, like, you know, it's like something that they can't get in. It's easy to get into, but very, very hard to come out of, like.
My son died on the 20th of January 2020. He was 19 years of age. Suicide. You don't know what's going through the mind because they won't talk. They keeps everything bottled up. Keeps everything bottled up. Till the whole, just like a balloon, till the whole are burst.
There was no signs. He was such a happy man. Everybody loved him. Everybody knew him like Tom Spider. How I felt when I got the phone call. Shock, obviously. Surprised. Didn't think it would happen. I didn't think that he'd have a reason to do it, but I guess anyone could put on a smile. Everyone was in shock, like it was just weird, like.
The biggest shock that ever happened to me was my brother doing suicide. He just didn't see that he could go and talk to somebody. The stereotype of the men have to be strong. He thought that he had to be too, and he thought it would be making him weak, talking to somebody about it. But it wouldn't. It's okay to be not okay, you know?
Like, talking about this subject just brings up just a lot of emotion in myself, because I tried to take my own life one time. And if I knew at the time that I could just search online for help, I could pick up a phone, I could have got that help, and I could have avoided what I tried to do. Like, it's the hardest thing and the easiest thing to do, is ask for help.
Don't be afraid. There's no weakness in mental health. It's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. Just lift up that phone, just the once, and just hear that voice at the other end. Even if you just say your name, even if it's not your name, just that I need help, and let them speak to you.
If my son had to talk to someone, he'd be alive today. Please, 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 listen to me. What I'm trying to tell you now, just talk to someone and they will listen to you. And things might change in a better way.
Professional support is available online. It's safe, confidential and anonymous. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For professional support online, just go to turntome.ie. If you prefer to text someone, 50808 is a free 24/7 anonymous text service. Start a conversation by free texting Turn to Me to 50808. For information, advice and telephone support, you can go anytime to the HSE's helpful website, yourmentalhealth.ie. And of course, you can always contact the National Traveller Service, Exchange House Ireland, for a wide range of help and supports. You are not alone.
Hello, my name is Martin Reilly and I'm a men's health worker in Pavee. This is a poem called Gloke. Gloke. Child is woken. Excitement rises. Child is about 4 or 5 now. His mother's boy. Eats his breakfast and asks what it would be like today in his first day in junior infants.
The whole summer seemed to lead to this moment. His parents look on with pride. His face is washed and his uniform is ironed. He leaves the family home. Across the grassy land that protects him through the gates, sees all the children with the same worry and excitement on their face. It quickly becomes his new favourite place. Years go by and the schoolwork is getting harder, and for the first time he's now classed as a traveller. What's that, he asks. It's what you are, says the kid in the yard. It's why you're different to me. But he doesn't seem different as far as the young boy could see. So he goes back to his home, waits until he's with his parents all alone and asks, am I a traveller? Of course you are, son. What does that mean? It means you come from a very exclusive ethnic minority. We're different than the general population. Our traditions have been passed down through time and generations. We used to roam the country helping the locals, and we did it with pride. Even during the famine, we had skills to survive. We're good with our hands, hard workers that could tile any land. We can fix anything that's broken, and we're good with the yarns. We're a real close community, where the most important thing is family, and that's why you're so important to us. Child smiles and he feels special. Goes to school and soon there's a turn in his table. Kid shouts, you're not special, you're scum. I'm not allowed to play with you. My ma told me where you're from. Child stands alone, not sure what he's done wrong. He grows up, starts to see other inequalities. Like, why is it only travellers that have to live at the edge of a motorway? And why isn't there running water on his side? He was taught in school that this was a basic human right, just like sanitation. But there's no toilets on his side either. Just 4 portaloos between over 50 people. If this happened to anyone else in Ireland, it'd be classified as evil. So why is it okay for travellers? His grandfather blames the politicians, says them who've promoted the vile segregation. Teaches of the 1963 Commission, how he labelled the forced settlement of travellers as the final solution. Taught them how it's the people outside that strive to make them different. That's why they insult with names like pikey, knacker, and itinerant. This is why he's stuck between a motorway and a wasted land of barren land separated by spiked railings so travellers understand that they're not welcome here. It's why travellers feature last when it comes to public planning, even though there's mass overcrowding, why the council's funds for travellers are given back almost every single time. It's not why no one listened through the flames of the tragedy of Carrick Mines. It's why some politicians have celebrated when they kept travellers out. If you don't believe it, just look at Dublin South, or even check around the country and listen to the words that comes from some politicians or even judges' mouths. Beasts, Neanderthals. How is this allowed? Hate speech at any other time is called out, but not now. His father teaches him that it didn't start here. You don't have to go back many years to see schoolyards divided with a yellow line. Most of the school playing normally with travellers separated on the other side, or special classes for travellers. And it didn't matter whether the child was doing well in school at the time. Segregation. That slowly sleeps into the subconscious mind of the nation. A lifetime of clear divides that make sure you don't rise above your station. He's angry now and feel more isolated. Why is his birth a reason for hatred? Grows older, reads as much as he can, reads comment sections online, sees that people blame travellers for drugs and crime and call them lazy. That seems crazy. Travellers were always known for their hard work, and yet there's crime, but that's across all society. Why do people only focus on this and not the positive parts of his community? He grows up, learns that he'll have to pretend to be different if he wants the equal rights. Travellers are scum. They smash up places and fight. He's never wrecked anywhere in his life. He was brought up with an incredible sense of pride, but having to deny who he is leaves him feeling empty inside. I'm sorry, I don't serve your kind. Why? You're a traveller, mate. No, I'm just up from the country for the day. Are you up for the match? Yeah, something like that. These lies of a lifetime hard to comprehend. Why do we have to live with this shame, especially when he's done nothing wrong? They chip away at his self-worth. He lived a lifetime of pain and a lifetime of hurt. All he ever wanted was to be accepted, but nothing in his life ever let him. He feels segregated, castigated, degraded and hated. Even parts of his own government cease to be okay with this. Why is there hope for when there's no hope left? How can you see the light when your life has been spent in darkness? Years later, a study is done. Comparing travellers to the general population shows suicide is 7 times more prevalent in travelling men and 5 times more in women. Some people start to take notice. They want to know how has it come to this. He's brought in front of them. They ask him for reasons. He stands there quietly, states that he doesn't have all the answers. All he has is this story. Thank you.
Thanks very much. They're 2 very powerful and incredible pieces, both from Exchange House and Pavee Point there. So we're just going to have a quick 5-minute break and then we'll be back with the panel discussion. See you then. Welcome back. I've seen some amazing comments there in the chat box about the film and the poem. I think a lot of people could see that, like, how powerful the pieces are. So I'd just like to welcome today. We have Michael Collins and Martin Reilly from Pavee Point, both Traveller Men's Health workers there. We also have John Paul Collins, the mental health and suicide prevention worker in Exchange House, and Miles Maher, who's an actor and also works down at Exchange House. Welcome, lads. How are you keeping today?
All good, thank you.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Oh, good, Geoff. Good.
Yeah, I'm going to just jump straight into it, and I'll go to John Paul and Miles first. One of the things that came through when I watched that piece, and what struck me first off, was that you mentioned that suicide is an epidemic in the traveller community. How would you describe that? Like, what would you, like, why did you use a word that's so stark, like epidemic? John Paul, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. Look, it's just that it's the best word to describe what it is. You know what I mean? There's and it's the stigma around it, and someone that's belongs to the community is not going to access the support or seek any sort of help. So that's what it is. It's you have to be seen as brave and strong. And there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. You know what I mean? And this is where it has now at this stage become a pandemic, because most of the community look at it that way.
Yeah, and I think that certainly comes when you look at the figures around suicide. You know, as I said, one of the last surveys showed that it was like 7 times more prevalent in traveller men and 5 times more prevalent in traveller women, as came through in the poem Gloke there. Can you just tell me a little bit about the process of how this film came about?
Yeah, we're actually engaged with lads. We work in Ballyfermot. That's one of our areas that we work in, and we're just involved with the lads, meeting them where they're at. And we had a tragic event on site with one of the lads on the site commit suicide. So we just went out in the aftermath of that, and we were talking to the lads on site, and basically it just came up, the idea. We had Miles, in fairness, another lad called Mick Hunt. They're already involved in this type of acting and writing scripts and stuff. Also, we just put it to the rest of the boys. Would just be interested in doing something down the lines of like making a production, and we could dedicate it to our friends. You know what I mean? So it took off in there. And then when we start getting involved in the actual production of it and making it, the lads were great. You know, I was extremely worried for them that they would be exposed to this acting and doing things right and get their script right. But the boys, like, they're great characters, you know, and it was new like myself. So once they got involved, it flew on. They surprised me greatly, you know.
Yeah, there's a real natural kind of fluency about the conversation at the beginning of it. Like, for me, looking at it, it felt very real. It felt like I could be sitting there with my mates, so kind of just having the crack. Yeah, and Miles, you're an actor. Like, how was it for you with the other lads? Like, how did you feel when you were asked, or when you started doing this itself?
Me and the boys, we're all friends. Like, a couple of the boys in the video are my cousins as well. So we'd be sitting around and we'd be watching films and all, and we'd be like, oh, like, I could do that better than that. Like, I'd love to star in something like that. So when a friend of ours committed suicide, like, we were all devastated. Like, we were lost. And then Exchange House came out to talk to us, like, about men's mental health and all, and we were just talking, and they listened to us talking about stories and all they did, and they like, oh, I'd love to act in this, I could do this better and all. And they were like, would you be interested in doing something? And the thing with traveling men as well, we get up, we work on 9 to 5, and then it's the night time is when we're alone. So there's nothing to do at night. So we explained this to Exchange House Ireland, and they said, well, look, we can help you do acting, like, if you be interested in it, like, give you something to do at night time, take your mind off other things and all. And we were like, yeah, we'd love that. Like, 100% we're interested in it. So when you're saying it looked like you were around the table with your mates and all, we're family. So that's why it was so natural for us.
I think for something like I've kind of taught performance and stuff in the, you know, through workshops, and it's very hard to get that across, you know. And like, I couldn't believe when John Paul told me that it was a lot of the lads, it was their first time acting, because there's little looks that they're doing. You can feel the emotion in their face. I thought it was absolutely incredible and a wonderful job that you've done. So I'll come back to you in a second. I'm just going to move on to Michael and Martin here about the poem, because I think that the topic of suicide comes up in Gloke as well. And it is, as you can see from some of the comments that have come through in the chat box, that a lot of people have been affected by it, and they've said that it shows quite eloquently the discrimination that has been felt by travellers in the piece. Martin, I'll come to you first. How did you feel you were asked to perform this poem?
Well, for me, I felt very nervous getting asked to do this, because I never done anything like this before. So it was very nervous, and when I seen the poem very long, I got even more nervous. And the more I read it, the poem as a traveller, it hits home. Like, it's very understanding for me as well. Like that poem, like, so when I started to read it a few times, it started to register in my head. So I said to myself, I will do it, and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, you did a really, really fantastic job as well during it. I have to say, again, I can't believe, like, I've been doing spoken word workshops with people, and like a lot of the things that just came very, very natural to you, like the pacing of the piece, the emotion you got into your voice, it was all absolutely incredible. During the workshops, the workshops for Gloke came about 18 months ago now, and Michael Collins was part of that workshops, and I'd just like to name a couple of the other men that were there. John Paul Collins was there. We had Alan Hanley was also there, and Martin Ward from they're both men's health workers over in the Clondalkin Travellers. Michael, can you tell us a little bit about those workshops? Like, how did you feel going into them to begin with? Because I know you've spoken to me in the past, like this was very, very different using kind of art to discuss issues. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, Geoff. Yeah. Just to say, well done to Martin there. It was great to see Martin performing the poem, and I know it wasn't easy, but fair play to him.
Yeah.
But as you're saying, Geoff, like I'm the Traveller Men's health worker in Pavee Point, and for me, we're always kind of looking for new and creative ways to engage traveller men. And this came up about a workshop around poetry. And for me, to be honest, like I know with the traveller men, we mentioned a couple of the traveller men about it, and they're a bit hesitant at the start, to be honest about it. Like, and I was saying, like, we're going to be doing a workshop around poetry, and they were kind of looking at me with like I had two heads or something like that. So what are we doing about poetry and stuff like that? But it was different, because when you come in, we didn't know what to make of it at the start, and then when you come in, you sat us down, you had a conversation with us, and you kind of set it out a bit, and you made people feel very comfortable. And I couldn't figure out where the poetry was. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a workshop around poetry, but it was it was a good discussion. And for me, it was great to hear traveller men in that talking about their own personal stories. Yeah. That's credit where credit's due there for yourself. Like you opened up them in, you had a bit of trust there, so they did open up with personal stories, a lot about the discrimination we all face on a weekly basis, and just around hiding our identity and stuff like that, how traveller men hide their identity just to get on in life.
Yeah, I knew of the discrimination before I started. Well, I thought I knew about the discrimination before I started the workshops, but it was only actually when I spent time with you, became friends with you all, and spent time outside of the workshops with you as well, that I saw like the discrimination seems to be non-stop. Like there doesn't seem to be a break in it. Like John Paul and Miles, what would you agree with that, or how do you feel when it comes to the likes of discrimination against travellers?
Yeah, look, it's a massive problem. And it seems to be, it's very, look at most people that interact with travellers and don't like, it seems to be easy enough for them to do, you know, just to have that, it just basically, it comes naturally to them now. So that's the worrying part for me, you know, when it personally happens to me as a traveller. So easy for that person to do it. They don't feel uncomfortable doing it. Do you know, it's scary, really, and also that needs to change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I used to do the doors bouncing, and I used to have to hide that I was a traveling man, and the managers say like don't let travelers in, and I've often walked off doors I have where I'd be like, sorry, I'm a traveling man. Like, what do you mean don't let travelers in? And they'd be taken back. They'd be like, oh, I'm a traveler. Like, what's going on? Like, it's in every crack of society, like with discrimination, like in racism. Like it's just racism.
Like, I've seen so many people say, whether it's been on internet chat boards or whatever, to say that I'm not racist, but it's okay to be racist against travelers. And I think that that's a really stark indication of how far our society still has to come, because like for me, there's no gray area in racism. You're either racist or you're not. And you don't get to choose who you're not racist against. That would definitely be something. Miles, can I just ask you? I know that it was harder to hear all of the poem there itself because we were kind of in the back. But was there any parts of the poem that you kind of connected with there that the lads had done, the Gloke piece?
The numbers, like myself, like I could have been one of them numbers.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a reality. Like, I could not be sitting here right now. Like, I could be one of the numbers that's gone.
Yeah.
Like, and even in our own video to open up, like, to me family, like, everybody's going to see that video, and they're going to know, like, this is one of our own people, like a cousin, a family member, a brother, like, that we didn't know this about, and now it's a stark reality that it is out there. It's known to people now.
There's a massive bravery to that.
Yeah.
Likely, yeah.
Like, because it was one of the things that's come up, and not just in travelers, I find it in like men in general, is like feeling comfortable to be able to show vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And to do something like all of you in this group, and that was in the groups that have been part of both projects, to do, you are showing that those vulnerabilities, which is in itself a strength, because I know that it came up in it doesn't matter that like men have to perceive to be strong all the time, but you know what I mean, there's nothing wrong with me, I can deal with it, don't worry about me, it's fine, I've got this. Whereas actually, I think from looking at the videos, you could see that too. Like, real strength comes from showing that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
What would you think on that, John Paul?
It's definitely the truth. It's a very brave thing to do, you know, when you're part of the community, to come out and say, look, guys, even approach one of your family members, one of the last thing you do. So I could probably even approach you, Geoff, which would be a brave thing for a traveller man to do. Geoff, I have a bit of a problem here. I'm thinking things I shouldn't be thinking. And just to seek that help, you know, it's fantastic. Like, and this is the whole goal of what we're trying to do with our production, and we've been successful in getting some more funding to do a prequel and a sequel, which we're looking very forward to once the restrictions are lifted. But you know, it's the more we can do with this, and the more we can hammer home the message that you can sit in your own bedroom and you can seek support from your own bedroom with your mobile phone, so no one knows that you have to go anywhere. Or, you know, support is there. So just hammer home that message, you know.
Like, for me and the boys doing the acting, like, I remember saying to all the boys in here, so like, we're going to do an ad, like, we're going to do, and they do, like, acting.
Yeah,
like,
they made a laugh, they made fun of us. Yeah,
go away with acting, like you go to work, do a bit of work, and I was like, look, give it a chance. Like, other things can come out of it. Yeah. And I'm at like myself, I'm at starring in a film, a Tommy Tiernan film, Saleo 2020, like, and that's an opportunity that came out of it from this ad.
Brilliant.
Like, so, and then Michael Hunt, he's at starting in other things himself. Like, it's a big opportunity for traveling men because the acting, like, we're storytellers.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we have the best stories to tell.
Well,
Like, just give us an opportunity.
I'd certainly agree with that. I think some of the stories that come up in the workshops with Michael have been incredible, and I think we touched on them a little bit in the poem and stuff. Michael, could I just ask you, how did you feel that first day when you heard the poem for the first time after the workshops?
Yeah, like we done it for about 6 weeks, and we've done a couple of the workshops, Geoff, and we're sitting there and we're talking about they're asking us questions. We were just talking about our life, and for us, it was like what we were talking about was a reality for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, and even just one of the things that struck me was Jordan at the end of one of the sessions. I don't know if you remember, but one of the lads was actually said that it was like a therapy session, and it was good to actually get some of the stuff off your chest. Like, you were talking, and it was like therapy. He enjoyed talking about it, and so that was one of the positive things. And you were just saying about acting, and I know the lads are talking about acting and stuff like that, and just around poetry and stuff. These are the things we need to be involved in for traveller men. We need to be out there. We need to be getting more involved in stuff like this. And when given the opportunity like this, it gives us an opportunity of getting out there and actually getting other people talking. And we're getting to know new people as well, including yourself, Geoff. And obviously, you know us now, and you're talking about travellers and traveller issues and stuff like that. And like, even just one of the things that struck me with yourself was even coming out to the site on the Saturday morning. You're interested in actually coming out and visiting the site that we live in. So for me, that was a positive.
Yeah, I like personally. I think I don't think I would have been able to do any of this without like a kind of understanding. You know what I mean? Like of what it was. I was coming into a whole new world, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had some friends when I was younger that were travelers, but that was when I was very young. So I was coming in right at the beginning of something, whereas I had to know. Do you know what I mean? So when I asked you, was I able to go out and visit the sites and stuff, you were brilliant, and you were so kind to me, and so open. It was wonderful. I'm just getting some stuff through on the chat box here.
For that, Geoff, I also wanted you to see the reality as well for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can easily talk, sit around a table in a Pavee Point or Exchange House, and we can talk about it. But to actually go out and visit a site and see the reality and see the conditions that people actually do live in and what they're actually talking about, you know, the overcrowding, and the people having to use 30, 40 families having to use 4 or 5 portaloos, and maybe no access to water. That's a reality for travellers. But a lot of people wouldn't actually see that.
It scared me, to be honest with you. Like, I didn't know that this existed in Ireland. I remember that, like, the first thing that kind of struck me was that I was driving on the M50, and suddenly I had to slow down to make a turn off on the M50 when everybody was flying by me at 100 kilometers an hour, and I had to make this really dangerous turn off to go into the site. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I just thought, like, I was like, how come there's not even like a safety lane to be able to turn in? Like, this is like, so that was the first thing I thought, like, this is disgraceful. And then when going into the site, there was a very visual divide for me, that it was that there was the site and travellers' houses and mobile homes, and then there was like this no man's land that was just between travellers and the general population, and then there was railings the whole way across then. So it was this very stark visual, like area that was like, no, you're different. We have this separation. It kind of like, the thing that came to my mind was like the Gaza Strip, us and them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and then having this strip of no man's land, and then, as you were saying, Michael, like as we were there one of the times, there was people that came from the estates around the back of where they were, and were coming out and just dumping stuff into the sites. And you were saying, Michael said to me, like, travellers will get blamed on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just that was actually just a coincidence, and I was actually glad to see that happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not glad to see the dumping, but actually when I brought you in there, Geoff, there was a bit of dumping going on. And as I said, travellers get the blame for all that illegal dumping. And at that time when I brought you up along that lane, there was actually a couple of settled people that actually come out and dumped just beside the traveller's site. So it was actually a good thing, but it was a bad thing if you know what I mean.
I know it was a kind of a perfect coincidence that could have happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Geoff, just you highlighted the isolation, like even here in Finglas with the same, with the football fields and then the general population. In Labrie Park, you have the industrial estate, general population. So I think it's a trend, you know.
Yeah, it definitely is from what I can see.
It's the majority of travellers, like.
Yeah, and like I'm just going to go into another part that's come up. I mean, some of the questions here are asking that's coming through in the chat box is like, you know, how do we think that like we can help the situation for mental health and travellers? And I think that was kind of dealt with in the poem Gloke a bit, where it says that, you know, that like I don't know if everybody has the answers to this, but I think one of the reasons that there is such high rates of suicide, like, will definitely come down to discrimination. Like, you know, and like as Michael, as you were saying, like having to kind of deny who you are sometimes when you are meeting, and the same, Miles, as you were saying, when you were doing doors and stuff like that, and people not knowing maybe that you were a traveller beforehand, but like being told, don't let any travellers in here. And I saw that from myself when I was out in the Christmas party with Pavee Point, and even though there was a space booked out and Pavee Point had booked out the space, they were still not letting travellers in at the door to their own Christmas party. And I couldn't fathom it. You know what I mean? Like it's a different world to me. Like, would any of you have anything to say just on that thing about having to kind of maybe hide who you are sometimes, and the levels of discrimination that you face on a day-to-day basis?
Racism and discrimination, Geoff, straight away.
Yeah.
Trying to get into a pub, getting a job, getting followed into shops, getting treated like a criminal, more or less.
Yeah.
That sticks to you like glue, because anytime you go into a shop, you think everyone is watching you, and that vibe. Then you go into another shop, then, and you think, and the other people is the exact same. So that's, for me, in anyways, I think it sticks to you like glue, that you get treated like a criminal sometimes when you're walking into a pub. Who are you? No, sorry, not serving you. You have never been there before in your life. Like, straight away, it's a no. Like, you have to
like you have too many on you. Like, I haven't had one drink. Like, here, you'd be surprised how many times they try to use that one. Like, too many drinks. Sorry, lads, just go somewhere else.
Just around that. For me, like, being a traveller, and you're saying there, Geoff, it's just around discrimination. It's every day for us. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's an everyday occurrence for us. It's every weekend. It's every month. It's every. Do you know what I mean? So everything we do, like, it's if you're going out socialising, if you're booking an event, if you're booking to go playing foot golf or whatever it is, it's always you always know you're a traveller. Do you know what I mean? And then you kind of have to hide who you are, or maybe change your name, or change your accent, or change nearly everything about you just to get
kids in school as well.
But just to answer the question around that person, you said someone asked a question, and for me, it's just get to know the travelling community, give us a chance.
Yeah.
And I know that with social media and the media out there at the present moment, there's a lot of hate out there. Like, especially, I often see posts there on Facebook, just reading comments and stuff like that from people. There is a lot of hate out there, and there's absolutely no need for it. Like, you know, so get to know the travelling community for me.
Can I just highlight as well, Geoff, that even like doing these productions, the poem and the production that we done, it's basically as much more that we can do as possible, because the sites are isolated and they don't get to hear these messages that support are there for them. So the more of this that we can do with travellers involved, and this way we'll spread the word. So just to answer that question around supporting travellers with their mental health, it's breaking that isolation. More of this will help, you know.
Yeah.
Like everything in that poem and that film that Exchange House done, everything like travellers, that's real life that travellers have to do every day. Like that's travellers speaking the truth. Like in that, like it was all travellers in that group that done this poem. Like it's true words what's in this poem and what's in the film.
Yeah.
Like so, you know what I mean?
I think that the men need to speak more.
Oh, definitely.
You need to not be afraid to speak as well.
Yeah.
Like
100%, yeah.
And like a traveling woman is a strong woman. Any woman is a strong woman. If she has a family, she'll hide behind her children. She'll cover it up. But traveling men, they just get out. I have to provide for my family. Like that's where my focus is. He won't deal with his own mental health.
Yeah.
And I think men need to speak more. 100%.
Yeah. But again, as I said before, if you create the conditions, traveller men will talk. People think the traveller men won't talk.
Yeah.
If you're in the right place and you will get traveller men to talk.
Yeah. Sure, with their group,
yeah.
that happened with their group. Like when there'd be about 10 of us, 12 of us around, and the conversation would just be flowing, and we just talk about anything. Like, and we weren't afraid to show our true selves to one another with this acting group.
Yeah, and I think I'd just like to jump in on that also, because like I've done quite a lot of workshops with travellers over the last kind of 2 years. And just what you were saying there, Michael, like when the conditions are there, the lads have been very, very open. It takes a little bit of time. There's some questions just coming in about like how do we improve numbers of travellers engaging with mental health services for a long enough time, and fundamentals that we improve the view of mental health services in the eyes of the travellers. So basically, like how can we get travellers more engaged in mental health services itself? And I think that's kind of what you were saying, Michael, to be honest, is that like actually creating the conditions to make it more comfortable. And I think that's a bit of a societal thing, as everybody has been saying here too, like that. I don't know, like because mental health services would be with the general population. Would I be right in saying that, or like?
I think you need to go into the sites. Like that's how you're going to break it down. Go into the sites.
Yeah.
Like
everybody has mental health. It's when you can't do your daily stuff during the day, your mental health is affected. You can't get to work, living, overcrowding conditions. There's layers and layers of stuff that impact on you.
Yeah.
Like there's layers and layers of stuff that impact. Like everybody has mental health. It's just when it affects you when you can't do these things, like overcrowding and stuff.
But also, Geoff.
So go ahead, Michael.
For the projects, for some of the projects that is working with mental health, it's actually to link in with the local traveller organisations or the national travel organisations to make that link in with the travellers, with the local traveller group, because sometimes traveller groups mightn't be aware of what's out there, you know, and it might be just on their doorstep and you don't know it's there. So it's also linking in with their local projects, traveller projects, and letting travellers know what's out there.
Yeah, and I think like the Gloke project came about actually in that exact way, and I'd just like to take a moment to give a shout out to Andy O'Hara, who works in Pavee Point as well, who's an absolute like force of nature when he comes to like the position that he has there. And it was only through like me meeting with yourself, Michael, and Andy that kind of the ball started rolling on, and this is what's come from it. Like these projects are what's come from it. I'll just see if there's anything more in the chat box just to as we're going. I'd love to ask Miles what made the change for him. How did he find the strength and ask for help?
I woke up one day and I'm going to tell you the truth, I sat on my bed crying. And I was like, I couldn't shake the feeling of attempting a second time. And I was driving down the road and I just seen Oasis. It's just a counselling service. And I said, you know what? I just pulled the car in I sat outside for about 15 minutes and I goes, this is it. Like, either I start the car now or I walk through that door. And I walked through that door. That was the difference for me. Like, because at the end of the day, I don't know what would have happened if I didn't. And I am in the best place of my life right now.
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely love the acting. Like, love it. Like, it's me calling. And I love writing. Like, I love stories. And to be able to express myself that way, it's magical. And I think that's what people need to do, is ask for that bit of help.
Yeah, and I think for anybody out there, if somebody does reach out to you and ask for help, I've said this before in some stuff that I've done, like the typical Irish thing to do can be to say, oh, you think you're bad, wait until you hear my problems and jump on like that. But actually, if anybody asks for help, don't say anything and just listen and let them know that you're there. I mean, that's a big thing.
It's a very good start, yeah.
For anybody who's trying to reach out.
And I just want to highlight as well, to one of the questions there, creating the conditions. I know we were very lucky in the acting teacher we had, Cheyenne from Superpower. She was great, and the lads were so relaxed around her after the first 2 or 3 sessions, you know. And Pat Comer as well, he was great. But really, what brought the whole group together was the way Cheyenne went about her work, you know. So really want to highlight her as well. She's great.
Excellent.
And just one more thing as well, actually, just around the discrimination, just the general topic as well. Black Lives Matter really pointed the finger back towards Ireland. I know that, God rest Lloyd George, I think the guy's name was, and it was all a big thing for a few months. But after that kind of cooled down, the finger was turned back on Ireland. Well, look, do a wee race, oh, geez, we have the travellers here. Yes, we do. We give them an awful going over, and we treat them badly. So, in a way, that campaign turned it back to, and all lives matter, but it changed it a little way in Ireland to travellers' lives matter as well, you know?
Yeah.
Highlighted it great. It was a benefit.
Yeah, and I think just was something that Martin said a little while ago, that around mental health as well, and it would come true on some of the things around mental health and the discrimination. We haven't really talked about like how homelessness affects in the traveling community, because like I know when I was doing a workshop recently, like somebody asked me outside, was like, oh sure, there's loads of homelessness in the country. And it was only when I described it, like some of the stuff that had come up in the workshops, how like for travelers, it's a lot harder to get a home than it would be for somebody from the general population because of discrimination. Would you
definitely,
agree,
Geoff?
Martin?
100%, Geoff, yeah, definitely, Geoff. Because to be honest with you, I'm in a homeless accommodation myself at the moment, and for the people, like for travelers, for to go and to get like for a house now or an apartment or something, if that landlord comes across you any way whatsoever that you're a traveller, or just the way you speak or anything, you're not getting a viewing for that house, like, or that apartment. Is as simple as that. And it is very hard. Like, it is very hard now being in the homeless. But like myself now, I have a young son now, like a 1-year-old son, and another baby on the way next month. And being in the homeless is like, it's hard. It's hard because me and my wife, we've never experienced something like we've never experienced this before. Like, think we're going to go to the homeless, but do you know what I mean? Like, because sites is overcrowding. There's mass overcrowding on sites, like trailers upon trailers out in backyards and stuff. And that's the only way forward, like to go to a hotel like homeless. And as I said, like trying to go for HAP or something, try to go for apartment. You're a traveller, you're a few straight away to go for rental, like to rent an apartment. So definitely, it's a big one.
And at the moment, Martin, if you don't want me saying it, like you're studying in Maynooth, Maynooth University. You're doing your study from your room there. You were also doing the workshops with me for the spoken word through the room there. Like, I have the utmost respect for what you do. I wouldn't be able to do what you do, to be honest. And also, to just touch on the fact that, like, I've been teaching kind of spoken word for a long time. You're a natural. You took to it very, very quickly. The way you put the pauses in where you needed, the inflections of the emotion that you put into the poem. Like, I'm beyond proud of what you've achieved, and you've taken it all in your stride. Like you're an incredible person, and I'm just delighted that I got to spend some time with you, become your friend, and to workshop with you. It's been an incredible journey for everybody. We're going to come towards the end of the event. There's so much like love and amazing words coming in on the chat box. Like John Paul, as you were saying, somebody says it's like Black Lives Matter, Travelers' Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Richard Kennedy said you might consider doing a podcast, that he finds this really helpful as a man. Thank you and good luck to everybody. Jennifer Griffin says, Miles, John Paul, Michael and Martin, thank you for helping us to understand the fact that travelling men and women, boys and girls have to continue to face widespread discrimination and ignorance is our national shame. The travellers to keep safe have to hide their very identity day to day is heartbreaking. Honoured to support you in the community anytime you need us. There seems to be an awful lot of messages of support that's coming through so far, which is great to see.
Fantastic.
I would say that like one thing that I learned is the importance of language, and to change some of the language that may be that maybe you don't know is discriminatory language. What do you guys think about that? Like, is there anything that you would say that you would like people to change in their language at all, or how would you like to be kind of described even?
Well, maybe the thing that
as a human being.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
no,
maybe looking
that's
for someone.
the way we want to be described. We're fellow human beings. We're no
100%.
different from anybody else.
Yeah,
100%.
So treat us the same way you treat yourself.
Yeah, and what irritates me, Geoff, is a person that's never met a traveller in their life.
Yeah,
just believes the stories they've heard.
Yeah,
that's the most damaging bit.
I say that to people. I go, do you know any travellers? And you go like, no. And I don't, then what do you mean? Like you don't like them?
Yeah.
Like you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just listen to what the family members and friends are saying, so they just go along with it. Which is a crying shame, really.
Absolutely. The care and support that I've seen in the community has been quite overwhelming. I feel really blessed to have been able to be part of the workshops and to be continually to be part of the workshops. We're going to finish up, as I said. Is there any last thoughts or comments that you would have before we finish up for the afternoon? Will I go around each, or
can I just add something, Geoff, please?
Yes, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, just to say there. It was great to hear the positive messages from people, and it's nice to hear them. And also just to say, Geoff, for ourselves, we're hoping to get some funding to make a video of this poem. And what we're hoping to do is actually enter it into some film festivals.
Yep.
So
we have the actors
making a video of it and putting it into film festivals. So the more people get to see it, do you know what I mean? And then the more people get to talk about it. So that'd be a great opportunity for us if we're able to. We're trying to source the funding, and we're hoping to get that.
I hope you're lucky in that, Mike.
We will be, yeah, very good. Miles, have you any other? Just somebody said as well that have you anything else that's coming up that people can look out for to see you in? Any other projects?
Yeah, well, we're making 2 more ads with Pack Humor Productions. That's the follow-up, a sequel and a prequel of the ad that we just made. And I just starred in Salou 2020, the Tommy Tiernan thing. So there's a few, like, it's very positive for us at the moment. So I'm looking forward to 2021. Great
stuff. Martin, you've got a big future in the old poetry world. But it sounds of it. You've got a book coming out as well this year, don't you? From some of the workshops that we've been doing together.
Yeah, we have. For the Minister of Housing.
Yeah. So, the stories.
So I'm looking forward to that now. Hope that's some change.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
John Paul, any last comments before we head off?
Well, I just 2 points really. I'd like to congratulate Martin there. It's the first time I heard the poem. It's very powerful, and you came across very well, Martin. So well done on that. And
thanks, John.
if there's any traveller men watching this right now and they know that they probably have a problem that they're not addressing, or their uncle or their cousin or their friend down in Wexford, basically just access any sort of service at all and seek that help.
Yep, 100%.
Don't be afraid to.
Yeah, it's just a conversation. You know, tell them what you're thinking, what you're not, and just get the ball rolling. Really, you know, access the service. Please God, it won't go down a road that it shouldn't go down. Really, you know.
Yeah.
That's my hope. That just to access the service really, and that we can break that stigma and the isolation, and just get the message out there. So more of this work is vitally important. You know.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, gents. I think we'll finish up there for the day. I'd like to thank you all for being involved in this amazing talk. I've really enjoyed the panel discussion, I have to say, and I think from the likes of the chat box coming through, I think a lot of other people have. The film It Doesn't Matter and the piece Gloke that Martin Reilly performed and Michael Collins was part of was just very, very powerful. Well done again, Miles, for acting in it. I mean, there seems to be a lot of love coming back. For anybody that's watching, if you needed more information, that Exchange House and Pavee Point are two amazing organisations. They're very open to anybody getting in touch to see. If you would like any more information on the travelling community or how to get involved, it's been an absolute pleasure for me. I think one of the things to take from today is, you know, how much discrimination that there still is in this country, but that we can change it together. And also around mental health in us all, that if, you know, don't be afraid to reach out to ask for help, like Miles and Michael and Martin and John Paul have said.
But also that travellers have a lot more to give.
Absolutely.
To offer society, yeah. I can just highlight one other thing. If there's anyone watching that is interested in acting, would like to be in our next production, because this acting, there's no age limit. You could be a granddad and still act, you know. So it can be a long-term thing. So if there's any traveller at all that wants to get involved in acting or in any production with us, get in touch with Pavee Point or Exchange House, and basically you can join in, lads. And more travellers are getting involved in acting. If it's writing, acting, producing, just basically giving a dig out, please get in touch.
Yeah. Were you going to say something there, Michael, before we go?
Yeah, just to say thanks very much to yourself, Geoff. You put a lot of work into yourself, and thank you very much for what you've done.
Grand.
You're a gentleman yourself to tell us about it, and but also thanks to First Fortnight as well for giving us this opportunity.
Platform, yeah.
Much appreciated, yeah.
And hopefully,
that's nice.
Go ahead, Martin.
That's nice one to say. Thanks very much, Geoff yourself as well, for basically doing this for us, and Kieran as well, Kieran Deeney as well, for doing this. Thanks very much, lads.
Yeah, and Adele Doran from First Fortnight, she puts in so much work. She's constantly staying in touch with everybody. She's just one of the really, really special people in the world. So a big thank you to Adele. Also, I think anybody that knows Adele knows just the incredible work that she does and what a beautiful soul she is. Right, we'll leave it there. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in and made this such a special occasion. Thanks to all the men who were involved in the panel discussion today, and all the men that were involved in the projects that brought us here today. So thanks again, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thanks very much, lads.